What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another week of PGA Golf with BobbyFi and my man Eric Sheets. Hey, we are going to be talking through this slate because it's Sheets. I had another good winning weekend. You had a good week, as
Yep.
you would have thought you would know there was no chance, and it turns out you
Yep.
had a good
Zero
week.
chance. I have literally zero chance. I had like 100%, not 100%, but like 75% Charlie Hoffman, he withdrew. I had like a zillion percent somebody else who didn't make the cut. And I just kind of just forgot about it. And the next thing you know, I'm like looking at my money earned, my money won in like on Sunday for like football. Or I have everything together. I'm like, all of a sudden I'm like winning this like a couple of $1,000s. I'm like, can't be because my football line. What's going on here? And I saw that like a bunch of guys I had just came from nowhere. Specifically Joel Damon, who just had a big Sunday at low ownership at 7K, who got fifth. That got all these lineups that went 5 for 6 to get into the money into the bigger contest. So that was very fortunate.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
I love when that happens, when you just least expect it. And that's sort of what happened with me too. I had a lot of the Hoffman, and then I had a lot of other guys like Neiman. I had a ton of who missed the cut, but I did have a lot of coke racks, so that sort of saved me.
Beautiful.
All right, so let's get into this one. This is another tournament where we have a lot of the people at the top. It's not the same difference. We don't have the DJs, we don't have the Rorys, we don't have the Brookses, Brysons, and all that. It's an interesting slate. I don't feel like you're gonna have to. I think everybody's naturally gonna spend up here. So let's go through this range, because I think you're gonna have easy room to spend up, because it's a funny line. We talk about it a lot with golf, but there's not a huge difference between the 10K guys and the 9K guys versus the 7K guys even. But the problem is, like, you have the money to spend because of that same issue. So it's like, do we balance it out because of that, or do we go big and go low? And I feel like my natural instinct is to go big and go low here, but I don't know if that's the correct one. So we'll talk through it a little bit. What are your thoughts on that, just sort of as a game theory thing, when we don't have the top players in the field? And they're still good golfers, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like there's guys you feel like you need to have that are going to be there, somewhere relevant on Sunday.
All these swings tournaments. I mean, you got to get used to. Remember, these slates are just judged on their own. Then when you see guys that are these prices that you would never normally see, in the bigger tournaments, you just have to learn that it is relative to everybody else. I think it's important to just kind of go over the tournament for people. So if you guys are sweating and watching, so the way this tournament works, there are two courses. There's a plantation course and a seaside course. And the plantation course rates to be probably about 2 or 3 strokes, maybe not that much, but probably 2 strokes easier than the seaside course. So if you get a guy that plays this, so what happens is half the field plays the seaside course one day, half plays a plantation course, then they flip-flop. And then after the cut, they all go back to, I think, the seaside course, which is the harder one. So if you have guys on, like, say, the plantation course, and they're killing it, it's to be expected. And if you have guys that are on the seaside course and are struggling just a little bit, then don't worry about it, And the other thing is, if you do play showdown, if you could, I'm sure they're pretty sharp, but if you're going to play showdown slates, you want to, if you could, play guys that are playing on the plantation course. But I'd like to think that ownership is going to cover that, but you never know. And if you're going to make, side bets or something like that, if you want to play guys to, I don't know, like to lead after the first round or something like that, I mean, or whatever, you want to keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is that regardless of where you start, this does rate to be like a 20 to 2,500 type deal. So you're going to want guys that can put numbers up. Yet at the same time, I remember this from last year too. I mean, like, you also want to be accurate. It's like kind of like a web type of course, but we'll get to this particular guys in a minute. I call it web type of course whenever you have not favors, but doesn't reward the long hitters as much. Mm-hmm. I call it like a web course, a web / Brandon Todd type of course. And yet still, you're going to need to get like 20, 25 under. So I figured I would give that summary. Mm-hmm. So you want to give your, I do have 4 guys in the 10K range, and I totally agree with what you said. I think that you can play, that you're going to want to play one of these guys, and maybe 2 in some situations. For me, I actually have a clear guy that I like most, which weirdly is the lowest owned, at least now. I mean, it's still one day away from a really have good ownership. Is the lowest one for me, and that's going to be Louis. Louis Oosthuizen is my favorite of this group, and totally happy with it. Webb to me is probably going to be the chalky play, just because he always is on these courses, which makes sense. But you know what? I mean, between the COVID and the neck and the playing like crap and then all this stuff, I mean, I don't know. I mean, someone else can play that. I don't know. For me, I'd rather play Louis. Scheffler coming off a good week. Certainly makes sense. He's going to be higher owned. Certainly have no problem with that. And Cam Smith as well. And Cam Smith kind of did okay. I don't know, 10th or 12th, something, maybe actually 15th. So I do like all these guys. I think you're probably going to want to get one of them in. But for me, Louis is my favorite.
Yeah, I love the Louis idea. I had 3 of them written down, and I have Webb. Well, I didn't have Webb written down, but I have my natural instinct was that he's going to end up being really popular, and for all the reasons you stated, maybe I try to just fade that. But the problem is, it's not like Scheffler is going to be unknown, who I like quite a bit.
Right.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Harris English.
Harris English. I'm done with Harris. I'm done with Harris.
You're done with Harris English. Okay, I'm sort of
done with him. I'm done with Harris English at 10. And even despite what I just said, now I will tell you, he's probably going to be 5% owned or 8% owned every year. So you could. I mean, you certainly can play him. I'm sore from Harris English. I don't know.
Okay, Harris English. So for me, the rankings I had were Smith, Scheffler, Oosthuizen, English at the top. I like some guys in the next range though, just as much, if not more. And so I don't think I necessarily need to have them, but I do think Smith and Oosthuizen are really strong plays. And like you said, Oosthuizen sort of fits that same category. You don't need a giant hitter or anything like that, but a guy who's really, really good at taking advantage of courses like this. And it's sort of surprising to me that more people aren't on the Oosthuizen thing. I don't know. I think that Oosthuizen is really interesting, but I'll take what you think. And I respect your.
To your point, as we go into the 10K sub 10K range, I mean, I would play even up like Corey Connors or Russell Henley against freaking Harris English. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear it. I think Corey Connors, I would almost give like 3-2 that Connors does better than Harris English, even though he's $200 less. That at least based on my numbers, what I'm seeing. So.
Completely agree with you, by the way, and
yeah.
And I do like Corey Connors and Russell Henley. So
yeah, and I like them both a lot. And the next guy on my list is a little further down, but it's a guy you brought up as kind of your sneaky golf connections guy, and that would be Adam Scott at 9K. For those of you who remember, like Bobby has like a couple of friends who really know about golf, and they mentioned that could be a good Adam Scott year for a lot of reasons or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's the next guy I have. He's still significantly further down. He's not the type of guy I usually play. But I'll, if you still give me the go ahead, I'll throw him in. But for me, Connors and Henley look to be very, very strong players.
Yeah, and I know that everybody else is not. Maybe they're disappointed in what he did last week, but I feel like Joaquin Niemann is every bit as good as those other guys too, and it's not just because of my bias towards Chile. So I like Niemann. I like that. That's what I'll probably end up doing is the low 10K. The Smith English or Connors, Niemann, Henley. That's sort of that range. Trying to get 2 of those guys might be what I do. I like the Adam Scott call. Scott and Gooch were the only other ones I was interested in from this range, and I'm not particularly overly interested. The thing is, though, I thought Taylor Gooch would be really popular. Maybe because he sort of fell apart last week.
He should. He upset me.
But yeah, I get it. But I mean, the guy still has 3 top 11s in the last 4 tournaments. Just interesting to me. He's expensive now. He's not the same 6,800 Taylor Gooch or whatever. But it's also not the same field. So he was the only other one. And usually I let you dictate whether my Taylor Gooch stuff because you seem to be the Gooch whisperer. So. All right, the next row down, and I want you to tell me what you like in this one first, but I did want to point out one other thing. The other guy who, my other friend is saying, hey, look out for a really nice year out of him. And he didn't play great, but, he made the cut in his only 2 tournaments so far that have been on this official season. And he finished 40th. He's been cheaper lately, but he isn't going to get played. But when we say, it's a Webb Simpson course, 4 years ago or 3 years ago, when I was first getting more heavily into the golf DFS, this guy would have been priced right there, and he would have called it a Justin Rose course. So I just want to throw that out there because that was another guy who he had as one of the guys this year. So go ahead, Sheets. Who do you like in this range? And does Justin Rose make any sense to you at all?
In the 8K range, I have two guys that kind of stand out. One of the guys I play, one of the guys I don't all that much, but again, we have to see the ownership because right now the ownership looks really low. The guy I play a lot, my man, he's flat 8K. That would be Chris Kirk. He's going to be
popular.
He's probably going to be popular. So that was the guy I was going to mention was popular. And a guy who right now he doesn't look like he's going to be popular, but people always play him. So I have to see is Johnny Vegas. We'll have to see, but he's the next guy in the 8K range. And after that, now I'm scrolling to like Seamus Power, and then the guy I just never get right. I'm just going to have to just take him off my player pool. Mito Pereira. I'm just going to take him out of my player pool. There's just I just never get right whether I play him or not. And then the next guy would be Mackenzie.
He played well last week. He bounced back after a slow start.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Mackenzie Hughes. So, but for me, top plays would be Kirk and Johnny Vegas.
I am totally with you. Kirk was the first guy I wrote down in this range, even though I mentioned the Justin Rose thing. I also have some interest in Keegan Bradley at low ownership.
Okay.
But I also, Dahmen is a guy I think I'm not going to play, but I want to go to I like Brendan Todd and I like Mito Pereira. I'm going to keep playing Mito. I just believe the talent level is there, and we're getting the low ownership on him now, and he's sort of priced in the same tier that he's been priced, even if the actual amount isn't the same. And he had one bad tournament before, but I think he's made every other PGA Tour cut since he's been there, and he's been top 30s a few times. He had a fifth, 29th last week. I think I want to play Mito or Brendan Todd. I mean, again, another guy talk about semi, decent course fits, a guy who doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, doesn't need, but can't hit the ball real far, takes advantage of these courses is Brendan Todd. So I like those guys a little bit, and I think that they're going to be pretty low owned this week compared to what we've seen sometimes in the past. So Kirk and those guys. And I wanted to get your thoughts. Well, how come neither of us mentioned Max Homa?
Yeah, I guess I don't like him if I don't like Gooch, right? The two of them go together for me.
Oh, that's right. Okay, there's the reason. That's what it is.
That makes a lot of sense. Right? I'm just not seeing him I'm just not seeing him right now.
Okay. All right. I just was curious because I had a little bit of interest in him, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that one. So let's jump down into the 7Ks, where I'm hoping that you've got some different. You're probably gonna have some of the same ones as me, but I mean, go ahead. You just started off.
All right. So again, but you know what? You did a really, really good summary of the way the slates can look. Because usually what happens when you have like good 10Ks is that like you have these 7Ks that like really stand out, at least the way I rank the guys and the way my models work, as like the top plays, and then the 10Ks like underneath those. And the 7Ks are not popping as, like the big priorities. But
right.
but there are 7Ks you're going to want to play here. The guy that rates the top for me, who is just probably going to be a little bit higher owned than some of the others, is Luke List. But the next guy is a guy that I've had success with. 7,100 Taylor Moore is my next guy. I forget, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. We hit pretty good on him. Yeah. And then after that, there's Alex Smalley and Lucas Glover. Then I'll tell you who rates well for me. I just don't play this guy. It's Danny McCarthy. And then I have three more for you. Brian Harmon, who we play a lot. Guy we were not ever supposed to play, but we do anyway. Emmanuel Grillo. And then the last guy, who I think might have won this tournament or gotten second, who actually is showing up in some of Rick's stuff also, and that would be Charles Howell III. I've played him a couple of times with very, very modest success, if any, but I'll just let you know that he's showing up as kind of an okay play here. So as usual, the 7Ks you're just going to need. So I'll just reiterate: List, Moore, Smalley, Glover. I'm not playing McCarthy, but he looks good. Harmon, Grillo, and Howell.
Yeah, I like the group. I have Streelman as one of my top ones, and I think Harmon is one of my favorite plays on the whole slate. So I love
that. I like that.
I think this is
Streelman's in the penalty box for me. He's just in the penalty box.
I get it. I understand, but I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to play these guys who we couple weeks back, this would have been like a 30 or maybe a months back or whatever. It would have been like a 30% owned, 25% owned in this kind of a tournament. Some interesting weird ones. Jason Day.
Ooh, that is kind of weird. Yeah.
So I had a, just again, another friend of mine who's high on Jason Day this year, which surprised me.
This is very thematic, by the way. Like all these kind of like older guys.
I know, and that's what worries me a little bit about his things. Maybe he's going a little bit. My general strategy is usually to try and find the young guys. We got way ahead on guys like Wolf and Burns and stuff. That was partly how I did well for a while.
Right.
Another one that you didn't mention, I like the Taylor Moore idea. Adam Hadwin and Doug Gim both showed up, but I also want to emphasize that I did have Smalley as my priority. So I like that you mentioned him.
Yep.
And I'm, of course, as you know, a complete sucker. So there will be some of the general in my lineup, and that's Pat.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no way I can
that would be, by the way, that would be Pat and Desire for those that have been following along.
Yep.
And another guy, by the way, this is a Rick play. He's not showing up for me as much this week, but it's close enough to where he's showing up. If he likes him, maybe go right back to the Aaron Rye. So look, you could shuffle these guys. And as usually what I'll have is I'll have 1 or 2 7K guys that I will just like play like just a carload of. It's not going to be like that for me this week. I'm probably I'm going to sprinkle like a bunch of these guys. I just don't have the confidence. One of them is particularly better than the other. So that's just the way I'm going to go after it. I got a couple under 7K this week. All waiting in the top 20 for me, and two of them, one of them I played to incredible success, and 2 others just with minor success. So I'll get to my favorite in a minute. But actually, so Chad Ramey rates to be the top guy for me as far as the models go at under 7K. I played him to okay success a few weeks ago. Michael Thompson, 6,700. And then a guy who won me all the money a few months ago, that would be Matt Jones, 6,900. So those would be the 3 guys that I'm probably going to play under 7K.
Yeah, I love it. I had Ramey as my priority guy. I totally can get behind the Matt Jones. I also I like Rory Sabatini in these situations. One thing I like about playing a guy like him is he's so volatile. That if he puts up, if he ends up T30th, he's got a score that's in the top 20, you know what I mean? Or something like that. He's always going to end up ahead of the guys around him for the most part, especially on courses that aren't especially long. So I like Sabatini a little bit for that. And then I am going, look, maybe I'm going to just totally regret doing this, but I'm actually this is a general play that I'm just going to keep making because I believe in the talent of him. And I don't think he's not playing his best golf right now. And that's Cam Davis.
Okay.
I really like Cam Davis quite a bit. Other guys who popped up a little bit were Russell Knox, not like in a huge way. Michael Thompson.
That's what I said him. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay. So
one of the 3.
I can actually put a little check mark on it because we both say him and I have to do it.
Yep.
Hank Leboida, however we want to pronounce it. I actually think I'm going to do some business in this range. I'm tempted to go back to the Hickok and John Huh, but I don't know. Like, there's just a lot of guys down here that I sort of have as sort of similar. Another one that's pricing sort of stood out, which is why I said that, we didn't have the great 7K obvious plays, but I do think we've got some good plays down here. Oh, Nick Hardy.
Okay.
These are just all guys in my early pool. So, I mean, this is still Tuesday. So remember that when we
Yes.
Peter Uihlein.
Yes.
I just think that I'm probably going to end up with 2 or 3 of these guys in a lot of my lineups. Another guy who I'd never heard of, but one of my friends who wrote something this week.
What we got?
Ben Coles.
Ooh, I like the guy I've never heard of. That's like
and I don't know. I haven't gone far enough to figure out why he's suggesting this guy, but I did think it was interesting because he's 6,200 and going to be unowned. The other guy is just a throwback to, hey, we've seen this guy actually be good at times.
Hey, hold on. How do you spell the guy that you just mentioned?
Let me grab it. Kohles.
Kohles?
Yeah.
Okay. I do. At least I have a projection on him, so that's good.
Yeah. And the other guy is just thinking that he's a better golfer than the other players in this range, even though he's sort of, he's streaky and all this stuff. But
Okay.
Doc Redman,
Sure.
6,200. It's kind of a time where I'm willing to take a shot. So that's what I got. And with that, do you want to get to the game?
Yeah, dude, if you could get Ben Coles hit home and make that cut with 6,200.
Yep.
I mean, if you can play like two guys under 6K, I'm under 7K, and you can get like a third, like I'm just playing around with this thing. Like if you wanted to play like a Louis and then like 2 9Ks, like Connors and Henry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can get the right 6K guys to get through, yeah, you could maybe do something there.
Yeah. I think that there's room for it in this tournament, and it's weird. I actually found myself liking the 6Ks better than I like the 7Ks.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, so it's maybe one of those three in the 6K range, and then do whatever you want kind of elsewhere.
Yep.
All right, so how about at the top? Who are you taking to win the tournament?
Oosthuizen.
All right, I love it. I am going. It's weird because I really.
You're gonna take Connors? I mean, like he's probably gonna win, right?
I mean, I actually think that is right. I think it's just the pricing. I was looking at the 10K plus, but I actually think that is probably who I would.
See, I gotta see the odds on this.
I think Corey Connors is every bit as good of a golfer as everybody in the 10K range, except for you could maybe argue for Scheffler, honestly, because Scheffler is freaking awesome. But like Scheffler's coming off a second and a fourth. I mean, I guess I'm gonna, because I'll save Connors for you. I'm gonna take Scotty Scheffler. Even though I love Cam Smith also, just a little shout out. So in my 6K things, I'll probably get some Schefflers with some Cam Smiths, but you can go ahead and with Connors. I do like the Connors thing a lot. I think Connors ends up as the highest owned player on the slate by the time it's all said and done.
You think so?
I think so, but it doesn't mean
I think so too.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find, hold on a minute. Oh, it's not up there yet, but I'm gonna definitely look into, some of these money lines closer to lock over there.
Yeah. So how about top 5 in for you here in the 9Ks?
Oh, who'd you take? Scheffler?
I didn't know yet.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll take Joaquin Niemann.
And I'll take Connors.
Yeah, I was giving you Connors on that one because
absolutely.
All right, down in the 8K range, who would you take into top 10?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to let's dive a little bit down. We'll go. Ooh, top 10 is so tough to do, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna go with boy, this is tough, but I'll say Chris Kirk somehow ekes out a top 10.
I love it.
He's had one in a long time.
I still like the call.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with a guy who I never pick for a top 10 usually, but
okay,
11th last week, and I am going with Brendan Todd.
Okay. On this course, I think you can do it.
This is the course for it. If it was going to happen, this would be the time to do it. So
under 8K to go top 20.
Yeah. Can I? You know what? I'm going to change my answer. Sorry. Can I do this? I hate to do this, but I think I'm going to take the weird long shot one and play Justin Rose.
Okay.
All right. Top 20 for the 7K range. Would you say?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't say anything yet.
Oh, sorry. My bad. You want to go first on this, or I'll go first? Okay, so I guess
I'll go first. I'll say, I guess I'll just die on the hill here with this one. I'll go with you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say Grillo.
You know what that means? You know the rule is
we gotta play him. I know.
We gotta play him. Okay. I'm going
because you know what, Bobby? I'm looking at this list of guys that have been, speaking of list, I'm looking at Luke List, I'm looking at Taylor Moore, I'm looking at Smalley, Glover, McCarthy, and the bottom line is Grillo's just gonna beat them all. You know what I mean? Like if he's playing well, he's just gonna beat them all. So that's what I'm gonna do.
All right. I was tempted to go with your Charles Howell III, but I'm gonna take Brian Harmon very happily.
I like that a lot.
Probably be my highest owned player this week.
I like that a lot.
All right, 6K. We got plenty of them.
MJ.
Wait, which is MJ?
Matt Jones.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Matt Jones to make the cut.
I've got I always get Matt Jones and Taylor Moore mixed up. I'm going to go with Cam Davis.
I like that. Okay, so you know, it'd be nice to like not have to scrounge for the 5 or 6s to cash. How about I'll add a couple of Let me tell you something. Going 6 for 6 is not easy, and
No,
we only play. I mean, neither of us only play that many lineups, right? So
right.
it's kind of hard to get them through. But
Right.
I'd like to have a week where we get maybe 33% of them through. I mean, I don't know.
That would be huge. I mean, the
that would be
general,
huge.
the problem is in these tournaments, you're looking at like it's been like between 2 and 5% of people getting them through. So if
I know it's not easy.
if we can get 33% of them through, somebody's coming home with a lot of money, I think.
That's right. Well, let's get that done.
All right, guys. Well, let's do it this week. I will have all my plays and stuff updated on True DFS, and it'll have my initial lineup builds up. I'll like to do 3 or 4 lineup builds. You guys can see the ownerships of what I've got. And as always, you can check out Sheets' Sheets, and don't forget to check out our Discord and True DFS, all that stuff for 2 weeks free. Our Discord is only going to be free for another 2 weeks, so jump on in now. And guys, let's win some money this week. Good luck, everybody.